In this episode, we'll be talking about the difference between stateless and stateful widgets in Flutter. So last time we created this simple application using Flutter's new project command. It's just a counter. Whenever I click the button, the counter increments. I also told you that in this application we have two types of widgets. We have a stateless widget and we have a stateful widget. I also told you that whenever you are creating a stateful widget in Flutter, you need to create two classes. You need to create a pair of classes, the widget itself and the state. And then whenever you are nesting other widgets, it doesn't happen in the widget class, it happens in the state class, which is kind of peculiar in Flutter, and you need to remember about that. So the first question is, what is state? So this is some kind of hidden knowledge in our craft of programmers. And programming consists of dealing with spirits. You probably don't know about this, but there are some spirits inside your computer. And there are different spirits. You can divide them into different groups, but we could divide spirits in the following way. They are spirits that are good or maybe pure, and let's call them white spirits. They are kind of extrovert. They are straightforward, easygoing, and whenever you ask them the same question, they give you the same answer. That's a good thing. You can rely on them. But there's another type of spirits inside your computer, and they are like dark spirits because they are kind of tricky. They may give you a different answer for the same question. So it's not very reliable. And you have to deal with that. And that's because they have some kind of memory. They remember things, and based on that memory, they can give you a different answer for the same question, which is not the case for our white or pure spirits. So generally speaking, in our craft, we suggest our apprentices to try to deal with white spirits as much as possible. But sometimes you need to also deal with dark spirits. So the state is the memory of a dark spirit. And now how does it translate to Flutter? So in Flutter, we have widgets. So in this example, spirits correspond to functions. And widgets in Flutter can be treated as functions as well. They are processes that for some input give you the screens of your mobile application, or rather parts of the screen of your application you are building. So widget is we could say a function that for some input gives you a part of the screen. And the difference between stateless and stateful widget is, as with white and dark spirits, stateless widgets are like white spirits because whenever you give them the same thing, they will always give you the same answer. They will always generate you the same screen or a part of the screen on your mobile device. While stateful widget may generate something different for the same input. Okay, so that's pretty much it, and let's maybe try with another analogy. So in order to do that, I will switch the view to the board. I will try to draw it so it's easier for you to see what I mean. So let's switch it. For this analogy, imagine that you are running a real estate agency. So real estate means that you are helping people sell or buy houses. And there is a window. And in this window you have offers. So like let's say you have 3 offers and they are 3 pieces of paper, and you just write the details of an offer and the price, the when it's available, who's the owner, what's the street of this home, of this apartment. Let's draw your desk. You are here, and then there is a printer you are using to print those offers. So whenever there is a change, for example, an owner calls you and says, you know, I would like to lower the price of this apartment, you just go to your window, you destroy one of the offers, and you print a new one, and you put it on your window. And the process is very easy. It's very straightforward. So there's a change or there's a new offer. You just print it. You destroy the previous offer. You decide at some point that you would like to be a bit more modern, and you decide to put on your window not only pieces of paper, but you decide to use tablets. And tablet, contrary to a piece of paper, has a memory. So now, using tablets, you can create animated offers. You can put more than one offer, and you can make them switch in turns after a few seconds, or you can add some animations like videos. So it's a little bit more appealing. But at the same time, it's a little bit more complicated to deal with those, with changing the offers on your tablets, because you have to develop some kind of a process. So imagine that you have this IT guy, and he created this program for you. So first of all, let's say you have a database of your all offers somewhere here. And the IT guy created a button for you, so you can select from this database some offers, let's say offer 1, 2, and 3. And when you click the button, the offers will be sent to one of your tablets and get updated. So whenever you want to change something, you need to explicitly say which offers you want to change, and then you need to press the button so the window is updated. So that's basically it. And the difference, and this analogy, the piece of paper is obviously a stateless widget, and it's only used to present something. And tablet is analogy for this stateful widget, because it not only it can display things, but it also has a memory, which is the state. Okay, so let's stop here. And now let's go to the code. So let's explain first the state. So the state is just the variables inside the state class. And you can have primitive variables like integers, strings, etc. But you can also have lists. So that's your state. And then you have the build method, which describes how to display this widget on the screen. And we last time we described this, but what's important here is this floating action button. So this floating action button has an event called onPressed. So whenever you press the button, something should happen. And we say that Flutter should invoke the function called increment counter, which we created, which is here. So whenever you press the button, invoke this function, which is here. So you may ask, that's clear, but what is setstate? So in order to explain that, let's first remove it and let's see what happens. So I remove setstate, and now whenever I click the button, nothing changes. Let's revert that, and now it updates. So set state is similar in the example I just gave you, similar to this enter button on your desk, that you are saying explicitly that you want to change something inside of the memory of the tablet, or in this case, something you want to explicitly say that something changes inside this state. So let's remove it again, and let me quickly show you the debugging process in Flutter. So here in this area, you can set a breakpoint. So a breakpoint is a way to tell Flutter that it should stop the execution of this program. So you could investigate, for example, the content of variables. So I'm setting a breakpoint here, and let me execute again the program. And now, whenever I click the button, the execution stops here at the point of the breakpoint. And when I hover over this variable, I can see the content. So let's resume it, and let's click it again. So as you can see, inside the application on the right, the counter is still 28. And inside the variable is 29. So the engine, the Flutter, updated the variable. The variable is being updated. So let's repeat that a few times. So let me click. So it stops. I need to resume it. Let me click it again. I need to resume it. Let me click it again. So as you can see, it's still 28. But when I hover, the counter increments. And that's because everything is being executed as it should be, but Flutter doesn't know that it should display this part of the screen. So we need to explicitly say that we want to do that, and we do that using setstate. So if I wrap the change inside setstate, the change is being oops, I forgot to, let's remove the breakpoint. And now, whenever I click, the change is being reflected on the screen. And that's pretty much it. That's the difference between stateless and stateful widgets. I hope I gave you some kind of basic intuition about that. And in the next episode, we'll be throwing this application away, and we will start with our email client. Stay tuned.